At long last, the Lions have completed the sweep of a division, the NFC South. Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, prideofdetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook, live on twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit and at YouTube, on YouTube at Pride of Detroit, where we are simulcasting live here. As we close up Movember, we will have our marathon stream here this Tuesday, the 5th of December, because Movember is just a thing, baby. It's a state of mind.
That's right.
You know what's a state of mind, too? 9-3. That's the record for the Detroit Lions. We'll break down what all happened in the New Orleans Saints game. In a game that was spicy, like gumbo. I'm Chris Perfett, the adequate host, at Chris Perfett on Twitter. Back. Thank you for all the well wishes everyone sent me. I was basically laid up for about, I would say about 7 days. And if you can probably still hear it in the back of my nasal cavities, it's clearing out. The Mucinex is trying to work. Joining me and to help carry that load is Jeremy Reisman, the fearless leader at Detroit Online, whose mustache has finally come in here.
Just in time
stretch of Movember
to be shaved at the...
Just in time to get sacrificed.
That's right. But you know what? I'm willing to make sacrifices if that's what it takes to raise a lot of money and to get football wins for the city of Detroit.
I am ready to keep doing wins. And, of course, Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Ryan, how we feeling, buddy?
It's an absolute outrage that Florida State is not in the college football playoff.
No,
I am so glad we don't have to do that in the NFL. So glad we don't have to do that in the NFL. Big boy football where we don't have to worry about BS like that to do it right, Ryan.
That's very true. That's very true. But yeah, all jokes aside, man, escape from New Orleans with a victory, 9-3, onward and upward.
Lions cement back-to-back winning seasons. It's the second time since 1995. First time since the Caldwell era. It feels good. Might have gotten there a bit shaky, and those shaky problems might continue. We're going to get into a lot of that right now, because I feel like even on wins now, Jeremy, I still get a lot of upset Lions fans.
Yeah.
Because it feels like there is no answer for a certain amount of Lions fans unless you go out and you put 50 on them and you don't let them in the red zone at all.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, too, because we got like a little taste in that first quarter of like, okay, they put it all together. Like, this is just what the fan base needed, a good, solid defensive performance to start the game. The offense is rolling, turning, drives into touchdowns, 7s instead of 3s, and you're beating up on a team that you're better on. And so that all felt really, really good. I was screaming at my TV because I was releasing a lot of pent-up energy from the past couple of weeks where it was just like, see, this is what we can do. You can't stop us when we're ourselves. And then the Lions kind of reverted on some old tendencies on both sides of the ball. And, I still come away from this game with more positives than negatives, and maybe some people disagree, maybe some people will agree, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. I think they were much better on the defensive side of the ball than in previous games, despite letting New Orleans back into this game. Offensively, I had some issues with some coaching that we'll get into, I'm sure, but in general, this felt at least a little bit like the Lions getting their mojo back, if not just for a half of the first quarter, but I think a little bit beyond that too.
I have my 3 stars of the game. Can I deliver my 3 stars of the game?
Stars,
sure.
Football,
New
stars?
segment.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay,
Shooting
so
stars.
First of all, 3 stars, because the more stars you get, the better you are. Sam Laporta, like all pro. I mean, why not? I mean, the kid's having a year, right? I mean,
he is.
9 catches on 9 targets, 140 yards, a tutty. I mean, I don't know what else can be said about the kid. I mean, a key block on J-Mo's touchdown, for as much as, I don't know, the commentators may have wanted to say like, oh, look at Jared Goff get out there and, be a pylon. Laporta, not enough can be said about him, man. He's awesome. So great. Let's talk about Laporta. What else about Laporta? Anything else stand out about, his game?
I mean, 9 catches on 9 targets. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Is he is he is the most reliable player on this offense, short of Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's the word.
Amon-Ra St. Brown was draped up for most of this game, which means that he played the St. Brown role. Like St. Brown, when he got the touches, he was fantastic, but you could tell like they had St. Brown in the box. So what do? We go to Laporta. Okay, great. It keeps rolling.
Yeah, and that was something that, during First Bite, we talked to Matt Miguez, and he said tight ends have been giving the Saints, hella problems all year long. So good to see him capitalize on that. My 2-star guy, Jameson Williams. I mean, are those numbers right? Did he reach over 28 miles an hour? Because that seems that seems unrealistically fast for a human
seems
being.
like someone needs to get him a sponsorship with one of the big three in Detroit.
Well, I mean, regardless, here's the thing: the fact that I even have to ask the question and wonder is enough in and of itself. Because when that play happened on that, the end around to him, he looked like he was moving that fast. That guy was faster than any person on that football field all day long. And Jeremy, what can we ask Dave Phipp why he's not returning kicks? Because at this point, if he's not getting involved enough on the offense, because here's the thing. He needs more than just a target.
No question.
He needs more than just one carry.
Yep.
He's a game-breaking dude at this point, and you need to get the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and I think that is a Jared Goff problem. I think that is a Ben Johnson problem. I think this game plan offensively, not to get too much into it yet before you get to your last star here, but I think they went into a little bit too much of a shell, and they assumed they were just going to wear the Saints out with the run game, and that just never happened. And then Jared Goff, like, as much as we're praising him for targeting Sam Laporta all the time and targeting Amon-Ra St. Brown all the time, who else is getting the targets? No one.
I was going to say, there were times where J-Mo got open and looked like they're very much so a home run ball, and he instead like goes somewhere else.
Early on in the season, I blamed Jameson Williams, and I stand by that early because I don't think he was running his route scripts. I don't think Jared Goff could trust him. Now it's on Goff. Because now J-Mo has picked up all of those little details. Now he is running the right routes. He's getting open. He's on the field 60, 70% of the time. Now it's on Goff to trust him. He just needs to trust him. Because you're right, he is getting open. There are opportunities there. I need to see more than 2 touches from Jameson Williams going forward.
What's your 1-star? What's your 1-star, Ryan?
Left guard James Hurst for the New Orleans Saints for his 1 forced fumble.
Jared Carr,
it's huge play.
But in all reality, if that play doesn't happen, I mean, are the Lions walking out of New Orleans with a victory? And there's a lot of things that happen after that play, obviously. But I mean, unless some incredible stroke of luck, aka James Hurst's right hand slapping the ball out of Derek Carr's hand, I mean, this could be a very different result, and the Lions could very well be walking out of New Orleans, 8-4 instead of 9-3. So. I think that was a huge, huge play. It was a good thing the Lions capitalized on it. And, I guess it took a play like that to give the Lions the breathing room that they needed in order to come away with a victory.
Let me do my takeaway on this. I think we've been asking all season, what are the Lions like? And it's a season-long goal to try to figure out a team's identity. And I think we have it at this point is that, like, look, I know there's some Lions fans who are going to be upset unless these are perfect games being thrown. The Lions this year, though, are just not going to be the team that's going to be in the same class as the Ravens, the Eagles, and the 49ers. They're not complete enough to be that. New problems keep coming up. I almost feel like this game is kind of an inverse of the Bears game, if that makes sense. And that rather than getting into a hole, the Lions gave themselves a pretty big, substantial pile of points to start with, and then got up to their usual same antics they had. They're going to find ways to win these games, but they're just going to just be repeatedly ugly like this. We all know what the problems are on defense at this point. And to be honest, part of that is that they just don't have, I know it always comes back to Aaron Glenn, but part of it is they just don't have the personnel to keep up with some of this, no matter what. Like those 3rd and longs were brutal to deal with. But they simply don't have the talent to really stop a lot of those at the end of the day. But the new issues of being hot, cold on offense are starting to become a bit of a problem. I know it's easy to look at the box score and say, well, they scored 33 points. That makes them one of the best out there. Sure. But they also had what was it, Jeremy? I think 4 3-and-out drives. I believe. Actually, I think 5. I have to go and double check
3,
that.
4.
It was about four drives where they went 3 and out, and there were a couple other drives where it was like 4 plays and they had to punt as well. So they keep going hot cold on the offense too, and that's a new wrinkle that we're going to talk about. But ultimately, I feel like at this point, 12 games in, I finally have a beat on who the Lions are. They're just a team that is going to just look really good for about a half of football and then create a lot of their own problems for another half of football. Not always consecutively, not always in identifiable quarters. But it's a team that's still missing certain elements, still competing very well, and still might be able to get you there to January where you want to be.
But, yeah. To me,
this is who they are.
This was the first Packers game all over again. You're firing on all cylinders in the first half. You're offensively, defensively, and then you get into a lull. And lulls happen, and teams fight back. But I think the frustrating part to me, and I don't want to be too negative because, again, I do think there's more positives than negatives here. But to me, this is a team that is built to play with a lead. This is an offense that is supposed to wear you down and just run the crap out of you when they have a lead. And we haven't seen that in a while. The Lions didn't run the ball particularly well in this game. And I know that the stat line might look otherwise, but Dave Montgomery had less than 4 yards a carry, and it just seemed like from the second
I think the Saints
quarter,
adjusted very well to fight the run as well.
Right,
They
but that should not be acceptable.
Sure.
You have the number 1 offensive line in the league, according to a lot of people. You have one of the best running back duos in the league. You have good blocking tight ends, good blocking wide receivers. If you want to have this identity of we're going to run the ball, prove it. And I know you lost Frank Ragnow in this game, and maybe that should have been a signal to, hey, you know what? We got to be a little more aggressive. We can't get into the red zone and run the ball 3 straight times and kick a field goal. That is not acceptable. That is ridiculous. And I guess this is the running theme here. I had issues with the offense today. I had way more issues with the offense than I did the defense today because they should be better. And to me, that's the theme of this team right now. The offense should be playing better football because they are the ones that's going to carry this team. And so when you start out a football game defensively with interception, punt, touchdown, punt, you should win that game handily. I don't care what happens the rest of the way.
Yeah.
You are up. You should be up 28-35 nothing at that, or 7 at that point. And so I was disappointed with how the offense played in the middle of this game because even at halftime when it felt like maybe the tides were turning a little bit and it was 24-7, I'm just like, there's no way the Lions offense is going to let the Saints offense score 17 more points than they are in the second half. And they almost did because the Lions only scored 9 points in the second half. That's not okay. They only scored 12 points in the final 3 quarters. That's not okay. They need to be better than that. Not turning the ball over is not a good enough accomplishment for who this offense is. And when you have threats like Amon-Ra, when you have threats like Laporta, and you have threats like Jameson Williams, don't be afraid to air it out, man. Don't be like what won them the game at the end. They ran the ball a couple times, got into a 3rd and 7. Laporta saved them. They ran the ball a couple times, got into a 3rd and 9. Josh Reynolds saves them. Throw the ball a little bit more. Do that on 1st and 2nd down. Stop with the early down running all the time. I know that's desperately who this team wants to be. And the run game has been working. And the Saints are a team that haven't been particularly good against the run. But once you get into the game and it's not working, don't continue to pound your head against the wall.
They find ways to win, but in that course of finding a way to win, they can be frustratingly inflexible.
Well, in finding the way to the win, they can also open the door to letting the other team come in and make their presence felt. And I think that's to Jeremy's point, right? Like you're up 21-0 with 8:15 left in the first quarter. It's 24-7 at halftime. There's nothing about the Lions offense at all this season that should indicate that the New Orleans Saints, whether Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, or Jameson Winston is back there under center, that should suggest that the Saints have an opportunity to get back into the football game. Now, I mean, there was a bunch of wild crap that happened, right? Like,
sure
I mean, Bruce Irvin a spine buster that would make Arn Anderson blush. I don't know why. Guys, you can't drive the quarterback into the ground. Yeah. Like that's a penalty, right?
So that's a penalty of the passer I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, there's something about him reaching the apex with Carr and then also driving him into the ground that it's a penalty, okay? But after that, we get a Brian Branch tipped pass that Jerry Jacobs was trying to jump the route and make an interception on an awful Winston throw that ends up in Olave's hands, and then it's goal line and a Saints touchdown, right? So I mean, there was some wild stuff that happened along the way, but I mean, there was wild stuff that happened all over this football game. But I think the thing to take away from this game is, and again, this kind of comes back to Jeremy's point, but like I can't really think about a football game since week 4 against the Packers at Lambeau where the Lions said, this game is at our pace and we are running the football until this game is over, right? I mean, there was that long, like 9-minute drive at the beginning of the fourth quarter in Green Bay where the Lions said, this is our offense and you can't stop it. And even with the Saints run defense not being particularly good, I mean, last week, right, against Green Bay's run defense wasn't particularly good either, but the Lions never had a chance to impose their will, right?
Yep.
Up 21-0, you have a chance to impose your will. You have a chance to say, this game is going to come on our terms because we have this huge lead. It wasn't just the first quarter with 8 minutes and 15 seconds left. It's 24-7 at halftime. Coming out of the half, right? The Saints drive 10 plays, 75 yards, score a touchdown. How do the Lions respond? Three plays, 3 yards, and a punt.
Yep. Yeah, this is what I mean. It's too inconsistent at this point to, like, you can't do that. You should know what's working, what's not, and make those adjustments in the game for what has to happen.
Okay, so but to that point, and about making adjustments in the game, right? I think there were some coaching decisions that were made that left me scratching my head, Jeremy, about, do we recognize that this offense is the way that you're going to win the football game? Your defense is not going to win this football game for you. Your offense is going to win this football game. And it felt like there were some decisions. I mean, even early on, let's talk about the very first drive, right? Like the Lions, it's 1st and 15 after they're bailed out by a false start penalty that takes a fumble off the board, right? Very first play of the game. 1st and 15, run play on first down, run play on 2nd and 11, a David Montgomery draw on 3rd and 7 that, to their credit, caught
somehow
the Saints
worked
completely off guard, and they get a first down on it. They end up going down, and they score a touchdown, right? It's all good. It's all gravy. But I think that there were so many points in this game where the play calling on offense felt so conservative to the point where it's like, are you watching the other half of the game, or are you just like on a Microsoft Surface watching all of your offensive plays? Like, are you getting a sense of that, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, yeah, for sure. It was frustrating to see a little bit, and even I tweeted out that last drive of the half, the Lions got themselves into a danger. Like they were clearly trying to run out clock so that the Saints weren't going to score another touchdown or even a field goal to make sure that they're up 2 or 3 scores at halftime.
And what does that suggest? We're worried about the Saints scoring points against our defense.
Right. And so you're operating under this, like, let's run the clock out first and score points later type of thing, where it's just like you have to continually rely on getting out of 3rd and longs because you're running the ball on 1st and 2nd down. They couldn't do it in the middle of the game. They were able to do it at the end of the game, thankfully. So I do think there has to be a little look inward with Ben Johnson this week. I don't think this was his best called game in terms of just, I mean, he did pull out the Jameson Williams reverse at the exact perfect time, and it felt like finally, okay, he gets it. Like, we're in a ball game here. You're going to have to pull out some stops.
Yeah.
But it felt like it took them too long to get there. And
that said, that wildcat play can just burn that.
Yeah, it's a little too obvious. I'm all for having both those guys out there, Jameson or Dave Montgomery and Gibbs, but not sure. First of all, I think Gibbs would be the better elusive wildcat back than David Montgomery, but that's nitpicky. Do you want to take a break before we start talking about some defense and some individual players?
Yeah, because I think again, like, I know there's Lions fans at home who are probably listening to us and being like, the defense is the problem. No matter what, this team scored 33 points. That should be enough to win any of these games. And to a level, it is true. And to a level, I thought there were new problems on this defense, Ryan, that I didn't even see in the Packers or Bears game, and that the 3rd and longs were beyond brutal. And we're going to talk about that very soon. But you know what isn't brutal? The smooth, salty, umami flavors of Righteous Felon craft jerky. Did I do that right, Ryan? I'm sorry. I felt like I was teeing. It looked like felt like I was teeing you up there, and instead I just took the ball again.
No, it's fine. Much like David Montgomery and the Wildcat, you're caught off guard by how good the beef jerky that Righteous Felon craft jerky can give you.
And that Righteous Felon jerky and meat sticks are available to Lions players at the training facilities of Allen Park. They're just housing this jerky on the way back. I wonder if they got Bourbon Street flavor jerky. Actually, they do have bourbon jerky. They have Bourbon Franklin. Because Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania, using locally sourced all-natural Black Angus beef, and prides themselves on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. I have people at work who ask me for the Bourbon Franklin all the time. Or the Soul Survivor, Korean barbecue. Or maybe some Maryland Monroe. Crab spice, baby. Each 2-ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein. Each stick has 8 grams. So guys, here's your code. RighteousFelon.com, POD15. Go there, use that at checkout. You can try all those different flavors. Get yourself the gift of meat here this holiday season. Stock up like your forefathers used to do for the winter, you know? It's cold out there. You're ready to hibernate. You need meat. You need dried meat. So POD15 at RighteousFelon.com. When we come back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast, defense? Question mark? More player breakdowns? Yes. More of that and more. PODcast. Hello, folks.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the break
I didn't
time.
scare everyone away versus the post game where I was yelling at people.
You were yelling at people?
Guys, why do we... I know there's so many alerts to get to, but like there's so many people in the chat that... Guys, 4 3-and-outs. There were 5 drives that had 4 plays or less. It was great to see the offense score 21 points in 7 minutes. That was awesome. But where the hell were they for a lot of the rest of the game?
This is exactly what I was dealing with during the post game. Yes,
that's a very fair question to ask. Like,
and half of their touchdown drives were like 20 yards.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, it's okay to be like, I'm super stoked that the team is 9-3. It's awesome. It's great. We should all celebrate it. But like, we're not just gonna go on here and just talk about like, you know, flowers.
Listen, here's the thing.
No, it's not even that, man. It's the opposite side for it. It's like I come in after this win, and I still have people saying that Aaron Glenn needs to be fired, and I just don't know what firing Aaron Glenn in the middle of the season is. I don't know
what that does either.
We're gonna get talking about the defense, and
I know, but
I'm gonna say good things. Like if you want an optimistic spin on this game, I think it comes from the defense. So buckle up for that. 7 tackles for loss today. 7.
Jack Campbell.
Yeah, but I'm still going to have nightmares about that 3rd and 17.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I just talked about this on the POD Direct video that's going out. Like, this team gave up a ridiculous amount of 3rd and longs. And that, I'm sorry, like, you can be angry and pound your fist and be mad about Aaron Glenn, be mad at Aaron Glenn for all that stuff. That's not going to happen in a normal game. You're not going to get 4 conversions on 3rd and long. You just aren't. They got lucky. No. They got. The Saints got lucky.
One of them was the tip, right?
Yes.
Saints were one of the worst offenses too in the red zone. Like at some point, those can be statistics that define a team. Other times, those can be statistics that mean this team is ripe to get right.
You know what I think it means? Nothing. I think red zone stats are overrated and dumb, because if your red zone drive starts at the 2-yard line compared to the 19-yard line, those are two completely different situations. And I think like 3 of the Saints red zone trips started inside the 5-yard line. That's not the Lions faltering at the red zone. That's the Lions faltering between the 20s.
Hold on a second. I think I'm getting an earthquake here.
Really?
I don't know. I just felt something sharp here, but I could just be my vertigo.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say the defense is good. I'm going to tell you that today was a step in the right direction. I like the ship has sailed at this defense. Like, if you think changing a defensive coordinator with this group at any point in the season or even in the offseason is suddenly going to transform this into a top 10 defense, I'm sorry, you're kidding yourself. But I think they can be an average defense, and I think for most of this game, they actually were.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
All of this should be part of the podcast.
Oh, sure.
How? No, I'm saving. I'm sorry. Let's get to some alerts.
Yeah, let's save it. Let's save it.
By the way, we do have a charity drive going. We are $425 away.
Yes.
From 20K. Something. Did you? I assume you got to all the alerts during your stream, or as many as
during
possible.
No, actually, I did not. I completely forgot about it.
I will get to them right now.
Because I am still delirious on
Holy
music.
Lord, there's a lot. Okay, no interruptions. Liam, thank you for the 12-month subscribe to the channel. CJC, 28-month subscribe to the channel, says LFG. Woodchuck under 100 bits. I'm sorry, I'm not going to read that message from 2 hours ago. That's like 4 sentences long. But thank you, Woodchuck under, for the 100 bits. Thomas J. Hutchins, 14-month subscribe to the channel, says, it's a W, but they are killing me with these breakdowns, missed tackles, and poor effort in the third quarter. Spielman, 54 HOF, 19-month subscribe to the channel, says, great tip play by Branch. Turns out to be a prevent interception and causes explosive play under the Saints. File under only things that happen to the Lions. Kyle Sleeps, 23-month subscribe to the channel, says, Sam Laporta is not just a golden receiver of a man, but a golden god. The Zoe, 9-month subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Junk Trunk, 22-month subscribe to the channel. Charizard Boner, 18-month subscribe to the channel, says, thank you, Jameis. Old Wolf, 44-month subscribe to the channel, says, Irvin won us the game when he knocked Carr out of the game. Maybe. Izzy, 32-month subscribe to the channel, says 9-3. Pirate Dog, 13-month subscribe to the channel, says, this was a close one. Mr. Civ, 6-month subscribe to the channel. Crimson King, 6 months. Grayson, thank you for the follow. Big DMG, 11-month subscribe to the channel. Dango Ryber, 40-month subscribe to the channel. I don't know if I said that right. Robo1207, 29-month subscribe to the channel, says, it wasn't pretty. I'm still scared moving forward, but I'll take it. MCDC Forever, 7-month subscribe to the channel, says, Laporta Potty is the king of the north. I don't know what I think about that nickname. Jill, $35 donated to the Alzheimer's Association, says, doing my part to make Jeremy having to drink the liver and onion smoothie a reality. Please do that, but I'm not looking forward to it. Kula, 13-month subscribe to the channel, says, I'm checking in and having the time of my life out here. Kula's in New Orleans. You're probably still not listening, but go have yourself an afternoon, an evening, a night. Drink all the hurricanes you can. Eat all the gumbo you can. Great.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
JC Paxton, 21-month subscribe to the channel. Buckeyes in Michigan, 9-month subscribe to the channel, says, 9 months with you guys. Detroit made me nervous, but won. Beat Alabama, Michigan. Go Blue, go Broncos, and go Lions. Chrissy, thank you for the 25-month subscribe to the channel, says, never knowingly known 9-3. I was 4 in 1962, the last time the Lions were 9-3. And we are caught up.
Hell yeah.
Whew. I owe $30 to the Alzheimer's Association, and anyone else who followed me with the Jameson Williams 1 yard per $1 also owes $30. Although I did say receiving yards at the time. 30 is receiving plus rushing. So I'm stretching it.
You should know better. You're Mr. Positionless Weapon on Jameson Williams.
That's the Jahmyr Gibbs line, I think. Jahmyr Gibbs?
It? Oh.
I don't think he caught a pass today, did he? Oh, he caught one for -6 yards.
I'm screwed.
Oh, it was that it was the fake screen back to the other side of the field.
This team sucks at screens right now, by the way.
Like
screens are awful.
I don't know if they're tipping something at the line of scrimmage, but like defensive backs are jumping wide receiver screens like crazy.
They're either getting
Jared
down
Goff
at the line.
doesn't care. Jared Goff is still throwing the ball. He's like, I don't know, I'll fit it in there.
It's annoying. It's annoying because it's continually like it's part of the reason why I feel like they're being so conservative of an offense. It's just like, can you throw the ball downfield? Like, what happened to early in the season where Josh Reynolds was getting you 20-yard chunks at a time? What happened to Josh Reynolds, period? I mean, he did have the game-winning catch today, but I'm wondering what exactly happened here with the offense that I swear used to be a little bit more aggressive in throwing it downfield. In fact, if you've been reading our POD directs, like, Jared Goff's intended air yardage is like slowly and steadily going down from the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a good thing.
Creeping back to like 2021 levels.
Yeah. That needs, I feel like,
that's not,
again, I'm harping on the offense, but again, it's because I expect more from the offense. They're more talented on the offense. They're going to win games because of their offense.
Well, like it's a football team's a total package. You just like bad things can happen on both sides, not just one particular failing.
Come on, Dees.
And I'm going to save everything else I have to save about Aaron Glenn to the next segment because anyway, 49ers are beating the shit out of the Eagles.
Frauds.
Oh, hold on. Speaking of frauds, can we talk about the college football playoff? Because I've been waiting all day. Been waiting all day for this.
I cannot understand their logic at all. And here's how I can't understand their logic, Ryan. And it's also given us the most funny bowl game because of it. Because I'm led to understand that quality of the team and being the best team matters more than being the most deserving. Because that was the whole argument on Alabama in over Florida State. And I understand the kid they got in, he ain't Cardale Jones. Totally understand that. But then why in the ever-loving
Come on, Dees.
F
Nuts.
is Liberty playing Oregon? Because you can't tell me that looking at Liberty.
Why are we going to turn this into Liberty versus Oregon?
No, because the whole point is Liberty took care of everyone on their schedule. They are the most deserving G5 team, but you can't do that with Florida State. It doesn't make fucking sense. None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense until you realize this entire playoff is owned by ESPN. It is owned by Mickey Mouse. It is owned by ABC. And the committee is looking for the best teams to put on TV. And that's all it's ever been. It's all it's ever been. And all this other shit, Ryan, is just kayfabe. So you can go play with the little boys, or you can watch big man football in the NFL. Or we don't have to do this shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take over the rant from you. I've been holding that in. Please rant away.
Hey, like RGA said, the program that Malik Willis built, that Liberty program. It's a shame to see it's in its current state. Now, here's the thing. I want to bring up one point, which was some of the stipulations, right? The principles of the selection committee will select the teams using a process that distinguishes among otherwise comparable teams by considering conference championships won, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, comparative outcomes of common opponents. And the last bullet point of that principle is other relevant factors such as unavailability of key players and coaches that may have affected a team's performance during the season or likely will affect its preseason performance. So, yeah, I mean, congratulations to Florida State. You had an undefeated season. Guess what? Football is a battle of attrition. Your quarterback didn't cross the finish line with you. That's terribly unfortunate, but that's the price of doing business in the sport of football. So your marquee wins were LSU back in September?
Sure.
And then your other key win was beating Louisville last night. That team was awful. That team was garbage. The ACC is bad. It's terrible.
No, it's terrible. And to be clear, I don't mind keeping Florida State out because I didn't want to see Florida State. I just think this whole thing is all a fucking farce to begin with.
Sure. You know what? I'm not going to argue with that at
and like,
all.
Like I'm also led to believe that I should quantify then also that Alabama gets to be in because they beat the number 1 team in the league, but don't look at the fact that they needed a miracle to beat Auburn, who lost to New Mexico State.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing. Stop qualifying wins based on how you got them done when a lot of people are qualifying like, how many wins did you have and when did you have them? And
well, you just qualified how Florida State got some of their wins, though.
Okay, but they're missing their quarterback. Like who?
Sure, but
which key player is Alabama not carrying into the college football playoff?
Sure, and to his credit, Jalen Milroe might be one of the best like in-season developments I've seen in a quarterback.
He's not the quarterback that we saw against Texas back on September.
Not.
September
by God,
9th.
Absolutely not. No.
Their other loss was September 9th. That was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
They have since gone undefeated, and they beat the number 1 team in the country in the conference championship game. Here's the thing. If you're a Michigan fan, I get it. You wanted to play Florida State. That's fine. Just say you wanted to play Florida State because they're in shambles. That's fine. You can say that. That's fine. You can want that. Don't say that Alabama didn't deserve it, because they did.
Yeah.
They did deserve to be one of the 4 teams. It sucks that you got that draw. I don't know. Be mad at Jordan Travis for getting injured. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just like, just say what you mean and mean what you say. Like, the video footage of Michigan reacting to Alabama getting the 4th seed should have never happened. That should have been like a comedy show where you're not allowed to have your phones out. You're going to see Dave Chappelle on the weekend with your old lady. You got to tuck that thing in. It's in a Ziploc bag. You can't access it. There should be no phones at that because, oh my gosh, Loserville 101. If you're going to react like that to Alabama getting the 4 seed, come on.
Did I share with you the list of stuff that hadn't happened in the college football playoffs before this ranking came out today?
No, but here, real quick, the one thing that's really dumb was, I forget if it was Saban or if it was Smart, who was like, there's never been a college football playoff without an SEC team. That's stupid. I don't care. Context matters. That's the whole argument of the college football playoff, is that context matters.
And like one of the points that I was going to say as far as like first that it happened, one of them was the number 1 team in the penultimate rankings has never fallen out of the top 4. And I'm sorry to Georgia, but I'm looking at, you want to talk about schedules on that too. Like, I'm looking at Georgia, and ultimately at the end of the day, who have you been playing? So the things that here's the things that all before today that had never happened in the college. This is from Heather Dinch. Texas had never made the playoffs. Cross that off. That happened. The SEC champion has never been left out of the playoffs. That's still true. An undefeated Power 5 team has never been left out of the playoffs. That happened. Florida State.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's never been a year where all 4 playoff teams were undefeated. Still true, because we left Florida State out. The number 1 team in the penultimate rankings have never fallen out of the top 4. We already did that. No team ranked outside the top 6 in the penultimate rankings have made the playoffs. That got busted when Alabama jumped up from, 7th to 4th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Georgia was the first team in the penultimate rankings to go from 1 to not making the playoffs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is like that should happen in conference play, in conference championships. You should be treating those conference championships as basically play-in games. I think it's more fascinating on several fronts. Number one, that like Michigan is still, like the Big Ten is still allowed to do this weird dinky division shit. And so same with the SEC for that matter. But at least the SEC, you get Alabama versus Georgia. But we still allow this division shit, and you're allowed to basically play Iowa, and thus the game becomes the quarterfinal game for the Big Ten championship anyway. Whereas everyone else is now moving to this model where you have to play the first and second in your conference. So Washington has to play Oregon again. Yeah. And like props to Washington, because that's not hard to beat Oregon twice in a given year.
They're 9.5-point underdogs, and they beat them. You know what would solve all of this, Jeremy? If they just went back to the way that it used to be. We could have a Michigan-Washington national championship game.
BCS wins again, baby.
Wipe your hands. I mean, super easy. I mean, the good thing moving forward is that we don't have to worry about 4-team college playoffs anymore. So it's fine. It's over. Jeremy's being silent because he watches Michigan football games starting in November. So,
I think it's all hilarious. I don't know why everyone's getting. I mean, it's not hilarious for Florida State, and
no, it sucks.
If I don't have a strong feeling here, but if I do, my feeling, I do think Florida State should probably be in, because I don't think this whole I'm pretty sure this team is better than this team matters. Okay, but that didn't happen. I'm pretty sure Georgia's a better team than Michigan. They're not in the playoffs.
That's fair.
Why? Because they lost. Florida State didn't lose. And this idea that they're on their third string quarterback, they're going to suck. How do you know that?
Oh,
well, we did see him play last night versus
did they win?
What happened with
they won, right? They won
versus something like Ohio State, who was down to
their defense won them that game. Defense can win you football games. Okay, I know. I know we've watched a lot of Lions football as of late.
Where was Iowa last night? They could have won that football game.
The Lions, Michigan's defense was even better.
To be fair, I also have quibbles with. To Jeremy's point, I think on a universal basis, you should have quibbles with this idea that just because you're down to a third string quarterback doesn't make you a crap team, because we left Ohio State in, right, and Cardale Jones won the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say this: their true freshman is not Cardale.
Did you see what the spread was in Georgia, Florida State?
Nope, don't care.
Oh, okay. Yep.
No, I think people are going to bring up the spreads.
No. Do you know what it is, Chris?
No.
Georgia is a 17.5-point favorite versus Florida State.
That's cool. That's what they need to bring in the even amounts of money in Vegas. That's not a predictor of who's going to win, though.
It's an indicator of where the teams are entering the game and where the public money
public
is.
Perception. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But the college football playoffs are based off perception. That there is no okay. I'm not disagreeing with that by any means. But college you guys are getting mad. You guys are getting mad. Not you guys. I'm talking about other people. I'm talking about the people outside. I'm talking about the people that are getting mad at a circus event. This is professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Good. You don't like college football playoffs. You don't like professional wrestling either, because this is how it got booked. And I'm sorry, it goes back to Chris's point. This is about Disney. This is about that mouse that runs around in Mickey Mouse's Funhouse and has all of his songs.
Think about it for a second. Except there is one bowl game that is not owned, that is not going to air on a Disney-owned channel. Actually, I think. Wait, does Fox have a bowl game? I
don't know. What point are you making here?
No. My point is that this entire sport is bought by a single corporate entity at this point. They are the ones who determines where everyone goes. The only other bowls is the Sun Bowl held by CBS that they've held forever, and I think maybe Fox has one bowl game, and I don't remember which one it is. My point is everything else is on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. That is where everything is. This entire committee was set up by ESPN.
Dude, almost every college football game is on ESPN Plus.
Yes. What happened? What happened when Texas wanted to go to the SEC? ESPN said, "That's fine. We'll rip up the Longhorn Network contract for you."
Yeah, and that all became available on ESPN Plus. So, I don't know. I guess
you can't tell me that so what I say to people is this, and this is to your point, this is all about the TV ratings, because who are the blue bloods? Michigan, Texas, Alabama. Those are three blue bloods. And you couldn't keep the Pac-12 out this year because the Pac-12 actually played really good football.
Yeah. God, I don't know if I had one last thing to say, I guess I'd just say roll tide, baby.
Roll tide, roll.
Anyways, MNUFC, thank you for the $50 donation to the Alzheimer's Association. We are creeping up, guys. We are just short of 20K. And if I need to give you another reminder, I will. Once we hit 20K, it means three things.
What does it mean?
It means, one, all of us are going to dress up like Benito Jones at some time in the near future for a podcast.
Oh God, I gotta order overalls.
Number two,
I'm such a MSU homer. You're right, Joshua Mercer.
Number two, it means there's a spin on the wheel of pain. Number three, it means there's a spin on the wheel of extreme pain.
Oh no.
Where things will get crazy. Last time I sprayed fart spray in my face, and it was it ruined my night.
Well, that's good and well. Did you see Jalen Hurts is being evaluated for concussion protocol?
I did.
Oh,
and the 49ers just scored.
Oh.
Yeah. Soulful Break, thank you for the 16 months subscribe to the channel. Says bad take by Ryan here. Love his takes normally. Fair enough. Not that obvious. You sandwiched you're supposed to actually sandwich. You have to lead with the compliment and then go into the insult. You got to switch that around next time.
Right.
Not that obvious with 6 months subscribe to the channel as well. And we're caught up on alerts again. So the reason, by the way, everyone, that we're doing this earlier than we normally will, is because we want to get you all out of here by Sunday Night Football, which obviously is Vikings, Packers, Chiefs, which will have big impacts on the NFC North.
Can I just say one last? I want to say one last thing on college football because
me too, and then I'm done.
Oh my God!
And I know this isn't going to impact most of our viewers because they only care about Big Ten and Michigan and Michigan State and rustling the Jimmies the other. But if you are rooting for this result to happen, and don't come crying to me because this is going to break up the ACC. Because the message you just sent to the ACC is that it don't give a fuck what your record is. We say your conference is bad. Because the FSU at Florida State and Clemson already were trying to have 1 foot out the door to go to the SEC. And right now, I saw that report from Brett Murphy. The ACC is also now having trouble getting a bowl game because of certain considerations for Notre Dame. Yeah, ACC's Battle of the Bulls continues. Notre Dame, UNC, Virginia Tech, and Miami destinations unknown, with only openings in Dukes Mayo, Pinstripe, Sun, and Military, sources told Action Network HQ. ACC's top 3 picks, Pop-Tarts, Gator, and Holiday, could not select the Irish.
Yeah,
this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare for that conference.
Yeah, to Chris's point, capitalism is bad.
No, I'm just saying, if you were bemoaning all these other things and you don't want to see college football turn into 2 super conferences,
that already happened.
I know.
Over.
I know. It's already getting there, but
we had our moment. We had our moment with all the Pac-12 mascots in the end zone dancing together. That was our moment, and that was it. That was all we got.
This felt like, and I mean, to most people who wrote and said that this felt like the last year college football will be college football. And that was this year. And now it's speed running it into NFL Light.
Yep.
That might be cool, I guess, but I won't watch it. I don't really give I'm already losing my will to watch this stupid sport.
Yeah.
NFL is better.
Damn, I never would have expected you to say that.
I know, right? Look at where Chris is.
He's in a dark place with the NCAA.
NFL is better. Joshua Mercer. Here's the thing.
Oh boy, you guys are beefing.
Love you, buddy. Okay, you say you're an MSU fan too. Okay, hard stop. Not an MSU fan anymore, but I know that kind of
Oakland baby.
Go Grizz. Okay, I don't want Michigan to have a harder time. Okay, I don't want Michigan to have a harder time. What I want to happen is, I want there to be competitive college football playoff games because I don't want a Cincinnati to make the college football playoff. I don't want another team that, they had a great regular season in the college football regular season to get absolutely, obliterated like somebody from the new Furiosa trailer. Okay. I did that just so I could see Chris's eyes light up. Okay? But
I assume that's anime.
No.
Oh,
it's
no.
It's another iteration in the Mad Max movie.
I didn't know there was another one coming up.
That should be good. Should be good. But my point stands is that I just want to see competitive football, in those 2 games, in those 3 games, really. And
it's a fool's errand, though.
It is. right? But it seems silly to say it's a fool's errand. Let's just award the team that had an undefeated season, even though one of the stipulations in the rules is we're going to take into account, the things that
What rules?
happened most recently. The
What
principles.
rules?
The principles.
Sure,
Chris.
the committee has principles. Yeah.
But Florida State, great season. Good job. Hang the banner, undefeated.
Death of the ACC.
Max friends. TCU Georgia was great last year. You guys all enjoyed that national championship game?
So they didn't.
What did they do to Michigan?
They didn't. Second segment. Let's go. Hey, back to the screen. Ready to go.
Joshua Mercer, don't bring kids into it.
Stop
Don't call them kids. Don't call them kids.
Ryan hates kids. Ryan is laughing at the misfortune of Florida State players. I'm ready for the second segment, though. I think we should. You guys had your long enough rant on that. You clearly needed to get it out.
It's just, I knew this. Oh my god! I knew this was going to come up today.
Ryan has to have the last word.
I do.
You knew this was going to come up today because everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this early NFL slate is not good." So let's just talk about college football. I was like, sure enough, the final year of 14 playoffs, we get just clusterfuck.
I'm making
I don't even know
sure
who
that
won the early games. Sorry, go ahead.
the early games, the 1:00 games.
Yeah,
the NFL.
Yeah.
By the way, if you had Chargers minus 5.5, I love you.
Yeah, you covered.
I love you.
What an awful
Stop doing
football game.
risky things with your life.
All I'm saying is that I'm not going to let my family, my wife, my children be within 50 yards of my dad on New Year's Day.
The Cardinals blew out the Steelers. That's bad.
Oh yeah,
I don't like that.
It was a weather delay game too. That game didn't get over until well after like 5:30.
I didn't see that Indy Tennessee went into overtime. I don't care about that game at all, but I didn't see that.
Tennessee kicked a field goal to go ahead. Indy scored a touchdown to win it.
Look at Houston beating Denver without Stroud at the end.
Oh man, didn't Tank Dell broke his fibula?
Dell, man.
Poor guy. That sucks.
All right. I was just looking around.
Did you catch up on all the 1:00 games?
I'm looking at the scores now, yeah.
What's the score? 49ers going to win?
Yeah, they're up 3 scores. 35-13.
Yeah.
Carolina.
Oh,
I need Carolina to win. Let's screw the Bears a little bit here while we can.
We do need that to happen. Also, shout out Chang Gang guy who broke his leg so bad.
God, I saw that in the first.
They never showed a replay, thankfully, but
no,
I saw it though. I saw
Yeah.
it. I didn't want the replay.
He was screaming in pain. Melvin Kamara was like, my bad, guy.
Yeah. By the way, if I can sorry, I know we need to get back to it, but one last thing. I did just receive unsubstantiated rumor, and I would like to do unsubstantiated rumor.
Let's spread rumors unsubstantially.
I'm calling it unsubstantiated.
Attribute it to Fox Sports.
Someone sent me something saying that they had read that Tepper wants Ben Johnson, but there were current Panthers staffers trying to tell Ben Johnson, don't come here.
I mean, that sounds kind of true.
Who was it? Deuce Staley? Who got fired by them? I mean,
not current.
Current as in current last week or current this week?
Maybe current as in maybe Jim Caldwell's looking out for us. Who knows?
I bet you DJ Shark sent him a text message.
Anyway, we don't need to get rid of Ben Johnson. Anyways, he loves flea flickers and he loves running on second down.
That and more in segment 2 of the Pride of Detroit.
No, we're not talking about the offense anymore. We don't need to.
Pride to Detroit POD cast. So we have a lot to cover here on the defense, and I know our engines got going during the break, and we're trying to reel it all back in and keep everything we can for you. I think, Jeremy, we've talked enough about the offense for now. We'll put a little bit of a pin in it.
They were good. And shout out Jared Goff. He made a couple of big time throws down the stretch.
He's also getting his head in the sky a little bit, though. But anyway, I've said we'd stop talking about that. I did want to talk, though, because I think ultimately, as much as we point out the offense is going hot cold, that people want to talk about that this defense is just ultimately just not stopping much. And yes, I think they played better, and I think they actually did have, especially early in the game, they got the Saints punting quite often, not really much going for them. But then the second half of the game comes down, and suddenly it's a lot of, oh, hey, it's third down. We're almost about to get off the field, and the Saints find something else doing to keep the drive going at impossible odds and just keep driving, get in the red zone, make scores happen. And people see ultimately the lead evaporate, and what they see is that's the defense letting up points. So I know you think the defense is actually a bright spot here.
I do,
and I'd like to hear your reaction to that.
Well, I think there's a recency problem with Lions fans a little bit in this game, because let's not throw out the phenomenal first half that they had. Let me read just to reiterate how this game started. Very first play, interception. Next drive, 3 plays, -1 yards. Next drive, 3 plays, -5 yards. 5 plays, 28 yards. Interception, punt, punt, punt. Then you give up the touchdown drive, the long touchdown drive, and then you get another 3 and out. That's it. That's the entire first half. You have forced 3 and outs, gotten an interception, gotten another punt, and 1 touchdown drive. That is as good as defensive football as you get in the NFL. And we can't lose sight and just say, well, they sucked in the second half, so the defense sucks, fire Aaron Glenn, fire everybody. No, they were controlling this game early on. They're part of the reason the Lions got out to the lead that they did. It wasn't just the Lions scoring 21 points. It was the defense giving them short fields. It was the defense making sure that Saints defense was going to be tired every time they got out there because they weren't getting any breaks. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you they were great in the second half? No, they weren't. But they had so many opportunities to get off the field in the second half that I think it's a little fluky that the Saints were able to score on a 10-play, 75-yard drive, a 7-play, 62-yard drive, a 12-play, 60-yard drive. They were in third and longs all day. And why? Because this team had 7 tackles for loss in this game. They were absolutely stout against the run. Again, 3.1 yards per carry for the Saints in this game. They did not give up a lot of big plays anywhere. So those deep shots, mostly gone. They had a 33-yard pass and a 30-yard pass, and both of those seemed a little fluky to me. And so, to me, this was the best defensive performance in quite some time. Was it a good defensive performance? Was it a top 10 defensive performance? No. But, if that's where you think this defense is headed or capable of, you have to set those notions aside. I thought the pass rush made Derek Carr uncomfortable several times. I thought the run defense was good. And we got a couple batted balls. Not enough. I think the safety, to me, the biggest weakest on the team, safeties. The safeties need to be playing better football. They need to be tackling better. They need to be reacting a little bit better in their zones. They need a little bit tighter in their zones. That's, to me, where the biggest concern is. But I think that was a step up across the board. When you lose Alex Anzalone too, and you generally only give up stuff underneath, that's the thing. I feel like the Lions' game plan in the second half was let's give up everything underneath. At some point, the Saints are going to shoot themselves in the foot. And you know what? The Saints did shoot themselves in the foot quite a bit in this game. It's just you didn't get off the field on third down. You did take advantage of the 2 turnovers that they had. And you won the game. And are we singing an entirely different tune if Bruce Irvin doesn't injure Derek Carr and Jameis Winston comes in and absolutely stinks up the place? Maybe. But you can't forget how good the defense was in the first half, how unlucky they were on third down in this game. And there is some criticism to be had on some of those third down calls and some of the third down execution, but you're not going to convert 4 third and longs, 3rd and 10 pluses a game. That's just not going to happen. And so the Lions got themselves into good situations on defense all day, and it's just in the second half they couldn't close out. And I don't know. Compared to the Green Bay game, compared to the Chicago game, I thought this was a big step in the right direction.
I'll say this about the defense. I thought that the very first play of the game was such a microcosm of exactly where the Lions defense is. There was absolutely zero pass rush. Derek Carr had forever to throw that football. And it just so it happened to end up in Brian Branch's hands, and that was the best possible outcome. That feels like the best possible outcome for the Lions defense moving forward is like flukiness and Jameis Winston inaccurate passes and the opposing offense kind of shooting itself in the foot, as you mentioned, Jeremy. Like I think that I don't know. I feel like I've kind of been I have a little bit of PTSD when it comes to the bend don't break defense because of all the Matt Patricia years.
Sure.
But it truly feels that might be kind of the modus operandi for this Detroit Lions defense is like, if we can force a turnover or two, right? If the Lions can force a turnover or two on defense,
they should win.
They should win. Like their offense is good enough that they should put them in a position to win the football game. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's it, Chris. Like if the Lions defense can force a turnover or two, they stand a chance to win the football game no matter who they're playing.
It's just ultimately going to come down to, like, look, there's only so much the Lions can do with the personnel they currently have for their DBs. I'll be curious about his grades. I did not think Jerry Jacobs played very well this game. And I think that you look at the personnel they have in place, and outside of Brian Branch, there are no spots. And Brian Branch does some things very well. Brian Branch brings pressure. Well, he's very good for what the Lions want to do, which should be to attacking the line of scrimmage. But in coverage right now, I don't know who the Lions really turn to for someone who they need to break up a big time ball. And that was ultimately what happened on a lot of these 3rd and longs, is that they try to Jeremy's point, let the Saints beat themselves. And instead, that ball got home because they just ultimately had no one there who could like keep up with those routes, or they would just get out of position or just have trouble with what they had out there. If there's going to be a salve for this defense, it's going to come from more in the pass rush at this point to create more of that pressure. And like, look, they got a little bit of pressure here through there. I think not having Anzalone probably helped. I mean, probably hurt, I should say, excuse me. I thought that, you see what happens when they do get pressure, because it looks like a team effort when they start to really bring pressure. The Romeo Quares sack, Pascal was involved in that, and so was Hutchinson as well. Like that's what it looks like when it should be working. But ultimately, again, the key is, the word is consistency. The pass rush just isn't consistent. But I mean, for me, at the end of the day, the fandom always comes back to Aaron Glenn in all of this, and I don't know what you want out there at that point. Like I know the Lions have given you in past years, you fire a coordinator, you fire a coach, and everything gets right as rain. What's going out there is not a matter of just scheme. Some of it's talent.
I think people are going to be surprised when PFF scores come out, when they look a little bit closer at the box score. This team had 7 quarterback hits on this game. 7. That's their most since the Raiders game, and I think it's 3rd or 4th most this season for them.
And 4 passes defended as well.
4 passes defended, 7 tackles for loss. 7. Again, they were consistently getting into good situations that you want to get into on 1st and 2nd down. They just need to close in on 3rd down. And I'm not arguing this is going to be a really good defense, but they very nearly accomplished what you should do against a struggling Derek Carr offense that is missing, a couple of their big weapons. And so, I don't know. it's frustrating when they convert those third and longs. You're frustrated when Aaron Glenn sends 7 guys to blitz and no one gets there. I will completely concede that this team does not seem to figure out how to properly disguise a blitz at all. It seems like it almost never gets home, and it's frustrating as hell. And I will admit that, yeah, you're right, Chris. Like, there is no one right now that I trust in coverage outside of Brian Branch. Cam Sutton, I think, had a better day today than he did before. But Jerry Jacobs is struggling. Tracy Walker is struggling. Kirby Joseph is struggling.
Kirby Joseph, man. 2022 Kirby Joseph. Can we bring him back?
That'd be nice. But again, the way the Saints got in this game was not chunk after chunk after chunk. It was dinking and dunking their way. And I'll take that. Like, I'll take that win in the midst of all that. You're also getting into third and longs more often than not. And so, I don't know.
And that's ultimately comes back to your point earlier, Jeremy. That's ultimately why I think a lot of our criticism early on comes on the offense.
Right.
Because that seems like a plan you can at least follow if your offense is performing better.
Yep.
But they weren't.
Yep. Want to hand out some individual awards? Some individual praise or criticism if you got them?
We haven't talked about him a lot, but to rub some salt on the defense side, I thought Jack Campbell played a lot better this game.
It was an interesting strategy, right? Like, I think we're all like, okay, so it's going to be the Jack Campbell show, it's going to be the Derek Barnes show, and you'll have a little bit of Malcolm sprinkled in. But what's behind door number 4?
Jalen Reeves, maybe.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, and he played okay.
Talk about that special teams play he made too.
Couple special teams play.
Couple of them, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he played relatively well. Tackling at the second level wasn't great, but Jack Campbell, yeah, he was a force. 2 tackles for loss. I think he almost had a third one, but it was technically a tackle at the line of scrimmage. Derek Barnes led the team with 9 tackles, a tackle for loss for himself as well. Again, the run defense was still pretty darn good in this game. I was annoyed by how successful Taysom Hill was because you shouldn't fear his arm, as shown by the one deep shot that he took and drastically underthrew. But
a lot of Taysom Hill was up the middle, and that we could tell through the game that Liam McNeil really tried to get this to go, but just could not get out there. They got beat up the middle.
I was gonna say, you guys and every single Saints fan that was in the Superdome. I mean, the audible cheers when Taysom Hill came into the game and the audible boos when Derek Carr re-entered was insane. Incredible. But were they wrong? I don't think that they were wrong by any stretch of the imagination.
And listen, I know Taysom Hill is not a good passer, but Jameson wins. I did the same thing. Jameis Winston was awful, so they absolutely should have had Taysom Hill in for the entire rest of that game, but they didn't.
I saw some, and again, I know I'm going after Lions Twitter a little bit here, but I saw some Lions fans so in their doomerism seeing Jameis Winston come in and declaring that this was game over, that Jameis Winston was going to beat you. No, because this is who Jameis Winston is, and I feel like I've been having this fight for 10 damn years. So let me have this. Jameis Winston did in every game exactly what he did here. He didn't wait for for Chris Olave to run his route and threw the ball anyway. And that was on 4th and 6.
Yeah, he was
with the game on the line.
He was awful.
Guys, if you're Lions fans, you're NFC North fans, you're watching everything around. I mean, were you privy to any of the things that happened in that New Orleans Saints Green Bay Packers game when Derek Carr was knocked out and Jameis Winston was in charge of making sure the Saints won that game?
Right.
I mean, come on.
I want to stick on the defensive side of the ball too, because it doesn't show up on the box score. He only had three tackles and a fumble recovery, but I thought Josh Pascal took some steps in this game.
He did.
Yes,
he had a good game. I think that,
as I said, he was
PFF score.
He showed up on that again. That Romeo Okwara sack. A lot of that was Pascal creating pressure.
Yep. He would have. There was in Bruce Irvin's sack. Almost everyone won their rep. Hutch had forced him kind of out of the pocket. Irvin was the one who cleaned it up, but Pascal was right there. He would have had the sack himself. And
by the way,
even
I
Aleem
do
was pushing the pocket.
Since we just mentioned him, I feel like Bruce Irvin, and I know he took that awful penalty, but that is someone who is contributing right away on the defense.
A little bit of juice.
I think he might be like one of the players who needs to be on their. he needs to be on the field when the Lions defense is in their pass rush package.
Yeah.
Like it's probably Bruce Irvin, Aiden Hutchinson. I obviously Aleem McNeil probably. Like he's one of the few guys who can generate push in the middle.
Yeah, and then maybe slide Josh Pascal in there too. Like I'm okay
Sure,
with that. It's
yeah.
not. Is it elite? No. Is
No.
it better than what we've had? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like there's
Yeah.
there's a little bit of hope there. This is what I'm trying to sell people. There's a little bit of hope on defense.
I think we're seeing there is individual talent up in the front seven for the Lions.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of putting it all together
Right.
now.
And of course that all makes sense too, because where have they plugged the most draft resources in? At the linebacker and at the defensive line position. The only secondary guy that they've really plugged resources into are Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, the two guys that are probably playing the best, although I would say Kirby Joseph has taken a pretty significant step back this year.
Yeah.
Oh man. Getting CJ Gardner-Johnson back, if that can happen,
Please
oh,
let him be the Wolverine that Dan Campbell thought maybe he had some Wolverine genes in there, because
I mean,
he'd be huge.
Poor Tracy Walker. I mean, it's Jimmy Graham 2023. It's not Jimmy Graham 2015.
Yeah. That was a legacy touchdown for Jimmy. Can we talk about the offensive line a little bit to
Sure.
wrap all of this up? Because, man, I feel a little bit for Colby Sorsdal, because this isn't the position he should be thrown in year one.
It's the position that the Lions chose, though.
Yes. No, it is. It is. They knew the problems with, they knew the injury concerns with Vaitai going into this year. And this Lions team desperately needs Frank Ragnow to be playing under center. And just not the same line without Frank there.
Yeah, and to be clear, at the point of the recording, we don't know what Frank Ragnow's status is. We got a little bit of a positive update from Dan Campbell after the game, basically saying like we were worrying about something really bad. Immediately when he was walking off the field, we got some news that makes it sound like it's going to be a little bit better, but obviously we still need to do tests. We'll know more tomorrow. So hopefully at Dan Campbell's afternoon press conference on Monday, we'll know, and hopefully it'll be good news that it seems to be trending in. But even so, it seems like you're getting carted off the field, probably going to miss a game or two. And so these next couple games without Frank it's going to be tough. So, but Sorsdal, I mean, all offseason they've been training Sorsdal at the right guard position. That's been the position of the future for him. And so you hope that he settles down a little bit in a week, that he'll be able to prepare as the starter all week. Because getting thrown in there is tough, especially when you've been thrown in there at right tackle, at left guard. You've been all over the place.
He's been all over it. Yeah.
It has not been an easy rookie season for him. And so it's not that surprising to see him struggle.
And I'm not writing him off. It's just, it feels bad that this could not have been the timetable the Lions could have anticipated for Sorsdal to be playing like this.
No. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. No, but to Jeremy's point too, like, do you know who also was thrown in the middle of things and asked to play right guard was Graham Glasgow.
Yeah.
In week 2 against Seattle Seahawks. He had 15 snaps, gave up 5 pressures.
It's those in-game things are tough, man.
It's tough, right? Like even a seasoned vet like him. So hopefully a week's worth of preparation will help him kind of get settled down.
Yeah. The only last note I had, speaking of the O-line, is I didn't realize there was a third Sewell out there.
Yeah, he played pretty well, too. He had himself a ball game.
Sewell, and I think I saw, what was it? Panay Sewell's father. God, what was his name? Gabriel Sewell Sr. saying, first time seeing any of my sons go head up on this level.
That's a pretty cool moment.
It's a fun moment. It's a really cool moment. We've had a lot of it with the St. Browns, but to see two Samoan brothers going at each other. Great. I think we've emptied the notes.
Time to talk about the future on the other end.
The future.
The future,
we come
Conan.
back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast. What's that, Jeremy?
The future, Conan?
I don't get that.
You're not going to help me out, Ryan? All right, fine.
No, he's letting you sync with that one.
No,
What
it's
a
like
team
chat. They think I'm all against Michigan, so I'm against you too.
In the year 2000.
We have an entire month of this to go until Michigan plays Alabama. When we come back on the POD cast, we are talking about the future. And unless things change very quickly in about 3 minutes,
They won't.
very interesting things are happening with the NFC picture, and we'll talk about it.
Jesus Christ. I am watching replay upon replay of
Trying to.
DeAndre's.
Do you have the Swift play? I don't have
It
it right
was
now.
literally, they just showed like 4 replays of he's walking off under his own power, but I don't know if they're going to show it
Oh,
again.
God. Oh, no. Really?
I think he'll be fine, but like, he's probably going to go in concussion protocol for this hit. If they show it again, I'll show
actually,
you.
they're re-showing it on a stream I have here. Oh, good Lord. It looked like he just got clotheslined with another man's helmet.
I'm sure someone on Twitter has it, so I'll grab it.
Oh,
That is woof.
that is some, you got knocked the bleep out.
I don't like this development where the Rams are
Did they win?
entering the playoff picture. They're up
27.
27-19 with the ball in the red zone.
Who won the other games? Oh, Carolina didn't win. Sad.
No, Carolina did not win.
Not a great day for the rooting guide, to be honest, but also not much is going to change in either direction because the rooting guide. The big one is tonight.
It's a big one. I mean, the Packers lose, and I don't know.
They're pretty much out of the NFC North race if that happens.
Yeah, 5-7.
Yeah.
That feels like you're pretty much out of it.
They have to win
That's
out, and the Lions would have to lose out almost for that to happen. And if the Lions lose out, that means you're also giving Minnesota 2 wins. So they're going to have a really tough time to win the NFC North if they lose tonight, which is the Chiefs.
No, I don't even think there is a path for them. There's just wild card.
I don't know though, because if they lose tonight, they play the Giants, the Bucks,
Yeah,
the Panthers, the Vikings, and the Bears.
Their schedule is incredibly easy, which is why they
very
have to lose
easy.
tonight. I don't want them entering the NFC North race at all. But it's almost a death blow. It is very close to a death blow.
Yeah, you don't want them being 6-6 entering that though,
Right.
because I feel like there's a very clear path to them being 11-6.
Sure. But they still have to gain 3 games on the Lions, which means the Lions would have to lose 3 more games out of 5. They'd have to go 2-3 down the stretch.
Okay, but that would also mean that they won 8 games in a row.
Yeah.
They lost to the Steelers though. Packers are
They're trash.
So
I think the Packers will lose to the Vikings. I think they could lose to the Buccaneers. That they still have the Bucs, right? That was
I know
one of the
everyone
teams?
got gassed up on them beating the Lions, but just
not the
it's
Giants.
just not a good team.
As
On
much
the road,
as I
MetLife,
want it, as much as
DeVito.
I want DeVito to beat the
I have
Packers.
bad news. I have bad news. I found out that I think the calzone has left the menu.
No, has it?
I went to look
Oh,
the
I
other
blew
night
it.
and I could not find it on the Little Caesars menu.
Son of a.
I'll tell you what, I feel like we should make this promise to our stream right now. If the Giants beat the Packers on Monday Night Football next week, I feel like we should do a quick little Tuesday stream where we just eat pasta.
No, we got to do just a full Sopranos stream at that point. Accents, chains,
I mean, it might
Shirts.
last 10 minutes, but
spray tans.
yeah, I don't know. Like, that would be great.
Just a segment for my paisans.
If they lose two of their next 6 games, the division's not even in question.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean they'll be at 8 losses.
Right. They're not going to lose to the Giants.
Dude, they might.
No, they won't.
Why
They
wouldn't
might.
they? Why
Because the
wouldn't they?
Giants are garbaggio.
No.
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 Don't you do that to my paisan. Vaffanculo.
Tony.
Look at the
Are we
man.
offensive right now?
I
will.
No,
The Giants have had.
As the meme goes, you can always do an Italian accent. It's
Are
never
the
not racist.
are the Giants catching crap for that, Jeremy?
No, I was going to say the Giants they have a bye this week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for the Packers.
Listen, Tony DeVito is a celebration. All right. We are allowed to have the celebration of our people.
Stop it. Stop it.
Fox has the Holiday Bowl. That's what I thought, Buckeye. I could have sworn they had one of those bowl games in like San Diego. And I just couldn't remember if it was like the Holiday Bowl or the Camellia Bowl or something. Thank you.
Yeah, as John Johnson says, the Giants have the reigning coach of the year leading them. They can't be that bad.
The 2-game win streak. Let's just ignore that it came against the Commanders and the Patriots.
I do need to edit that video. Fuck, I'm sorry. I've been dead in my bed. I'll work on it.
Speaking of which,
I went Krolik.
Oh, yeah. Wait, Jeremy, what were you just talking about?
I don't know. Giants?
Giants.
Losing to the Patriots or beating the Patriots and the Commanders?
Oh, Commanders. Tyreek Hill's the MVP of the NFL.
Okay. What did he do today?
I know he had a touchdown of 70-plus yards and a touchdown of 60-plus yards.
He had some big-time touchdowns.
It looks like that's about all he had. 5 catches, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
That's all he had.
That's all he had.
That's all he had. It's the most important thing that you can
well,
do in the
if you
NFL.
take away the 2 big plays.
Yeah! Do it! Do it!
Right. It's 1st and goal with like 2:10 to play. I think I'm calling it the Rams are winning this game.
Son of a.
Rams back to 500.
What's the Rams schedule look like?
0-1 for our boy Joe Flacco.
Tyreek Hill has 93. Tyreek Hill has 93 catches for 1,481 yards and 12 touchdowns. I don't think a receiver's ever won MVP.
No. It's never happened in the NFL.
It's because there has to be an elite quarterback throwing to him. To and on.
It goes deeper. It goes deeper.
So the Rams are 6-6, assuming they close this one out. They do have remaining games, including next week again at Ravens and at 49ers. That seems worrisome for them.
At Ravens, at 49ers, back to back to
No.
close out the season?
Nope, that's
Oh.
next game is at Ravens, final game of the season is at 49ers. In between there, Commanders,
Oh, so-
Saints, Giants.
Those are the bookends. Okay.
Yeah.
Commanders, Saints, Giants.
Yeah.
DeVito.
DeVito is the key to everything.
It all comes back to DeVito.
What's the
Everything's
Giants'
coming up
remaining
Tommy.
schedule? All right, Giants have Packers, Saints, Eagles, Rams, Eagles. We are all the biggest
the
Tommy
Eagles,
DeVito
guys.
fans. Tommy
I love
DeVito.
it. I love it.
Tommy DeVito.
This is a good time to remind everyone there is a pinched finger emoji.
If he
Or at least there is on
Literally.
Discord. I don't know about Twitch.
4 of those 5 games could impact the Lions either directly or indirectly.
Huge games. Huge
Packers,
games.
Saints, and don't really care about the Saints. Packers, Saints, Eagles, Rams, Eagles.
Yeah.
I
All
never-
those games matter.
Listen, I'm just saying they're 4-8 now, but if they win all 5 of those games, 9-8, you pick up tiebreakers on the Rams and the Saints along the way and the Packers along the way. Giants got a shot at the playoffs is all I'm saying.
Tommy's got a
a
shot at the playoffs.
Jeremy has come full circle from last year where it's like,
Giants are frauds.
do we really want to be the Giants?
No, and you know what the key is? You know what the key difference is, Ryan? We took out Daniel Jones and we replaced him with Tommy DeVito, baby.
God. Oh, Tommy DeVito. Daniel Jones, Vanilla Vic had to go down for Tommy DeVito to fly.
He Wally pipped himself.
Giants
Dang.
are 4-8. Do they got a shot?
I got some good injury news, not for the Lions, but for the Chain Gang member.
Yeah,
surprisingly,
I saw that.
Nick
I can't-
Piazza the member of the chain gang who was injured during Piazza, suffered a dislocated knee and is recovering at the university hospital. He is not expected to need surgery.
Good.
I just got another tweet about that. It's actually a direct quote from Piazza. He goes, "Oh, dodged a bullet."
I hate you.
Now all I need is for Italy to win Euros. Jill, I will endeavor to have that up by Tuesday. I'm trying.
I can't believe he didn't have to have surgery. His
crazy.
His leg was doing this.
Okay, I don't need to see that. Even like the whatever that was makes me feel uncomfortable.
Lion's blood. We do not know if he's related to Mike Piazza.
Oh, I did just swear. Dang it.
Oh, did you swear?
I absolutely said F you to you.
See, I block it out.
It's all right. We're at 20. That's okay. It's not great.
Dragon Lion. His leg wasn't right. No, it wasn't his right. It was his left. It was his left leg.
You're really testing the swear jar out again right now.
Come on,
Dees.
Hey, speaking of swear jars, yo, Silver Rush with the $345 donation to push us to 20K on the dot, and also says, "I want 3 eggs."
Give him to Eric.
Give him to Eric. Yo, Silver Rush, thank you so much, man. We are over the 20K. All right, how do we want to do this? Silver Rush, first tell us what you want to do with those eggs, which you've earned them. You can use them if you want.
It can only be broken on somebody, though. It can only be broken on somebody.
Correct. We can save them for Tuesday, which I literally have to go grocery shopping Monday night for like 3 cartons of eggs. Because we're going to have so many on retainer.
And pickle juice. Probably need to grab some pickle juice.
No, I'm good there. I think what we should do now is one spin on the Wheel of Pain. We'll save the Wheel of Extreme Pain for after the show, after the final segment.
Sorry.
But yeah, you know what? Let's not even waste time. Let's jump right into the Wheel of Pain. The regular Wheel of Pain. And then at the end of the show, we'll do the Extreme Pain.
Sounds good.
Let me know if Silver Rush has said anything in chat, because I have not seen him in chat. Seen them in chat. Where is the spinny wheel? Spin wheel.
By the way, I don't think I let Jeremy know this. There was a very interesting development, and this is the only time, Jeremy, I apologize with my entire body, but this is very important, and I know I'm bringing up something you do not want to hear about, though.
Great.
But I think if you hear it out...
I'm so excited about this.
I tied in fantasy.
Is that the entire story?
Yes. Last week, I tied in fantasy.
Great.
With Matthew Turner.
Shout out. We're aligned 2K, guys.
I just look. I can't be the guy.
Prime Frog Bark, mute Chris.
I can't be the guy who constantly predicts ties in the POD picks and not tell you that I managed to tie in fantasy.
He's been muted. I think he had some frog bark. I'm almost certain you did. I do see that Silver Rush wants to save them for on Tuesday, so we'll save the egg cracks for Tuesday for Silver Rush. In the meantime, here's what we're going to have on the Wheel of Pain. Bean Boozled, Up Downs, Pickle Juice, Eat a Bug. Are you down to Saltine Serenade?
Yeah, sure. As long as we get done here by around 8:05.
I mean, yeah. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
Let's go.
All right. Here we go. We're going to just spin it. Here we go. Wait, where's the spin button? There it is. Here we go. Bean Boozled. Ryan, I went 0 for 3 during the Madden Sim, including old bandage, dirty bandage, whatever it was, and dead fish. It was horrible.
Ooh, that's real bad. You had a bad Saturday.
Do you want to take over for me? Do we want to split them?
I don't have any Bean Boozled.
What? I thought you were getting them.
I can go get some pickle juice.
All right, fine. It's just me.
Yeah, dude, I had Saltine Serenade.
You said you were gonna get them.
It didn't land on it.
That's fine. You said you were gonna get Bean Boozled. No, that's fine.
Well, I'm gonna have to get them because we have to spin the extreme wheel of pain. And if it lands on that, I'm gonna have to obviously get some so I can eat a bowl of cereal.
So what are you gonna do if it lands on that tonight?
I'm not honoring that tonight. I'll honor that on Tuesday.
Chat, I need Boo Ryan in the chat. Fill it up the whole thing. That's all I want to see.
Hey, chat, you know what I need to see? I need to see a bunch of stick taters in the chat.
No.
You know who this man is.
All right, first one, blueberry or toothpaste. Easiest one to eat, so we're going to do that one first.
Wow, you're going with that one first. I thought you'd go with that one last.
Mm-mm. It's toothpaste, but I put toothpaste in my mouth all the time. It's fine.
I don't like how many people are booing me. Don't do that. Stop.
You did get 2 stick taters, so.
Look at.
But they were both JT Sam, so that only really counts as one. Boo Jeremy!
A literary reference. Boo Radley.
Oh.
Bonus points for anybody who can name what book that's from.
Catcher in the Rye. That's not right. That's it's the courtroom one.
I'm going to finally unmute myself just on how wrong Jeremy
is. I don't know why.
on how to kill
I know
Mockingbird.
that's what it is. I had the right plot,
No,
you didn't have the right plot. I had the wrong title.
You did have the right plot.
Goopek, thank you for the 16-month subscribe to the channel. Says 9 yards receiving from Gibbs would have completed a 7-leg parlay, whereas Gibbs been in the passing game. It's a fair question.
Not in your parlay.
Not in your parlay. Maybe don't make a 7-leg parlay. Sorry, that was mean. But also don't make 7-leg parlays because you're just asking to lose.
Ouch.
All right. Speaking of asking to lose, this jelly bean right here is either Tutti Frutti or Smelly Socks.
Oh, God.
Tutti Frutti, Smelly Socks. That's Tutti Frutti. That's Tutti Frutti. All right. We're back on the losing streak has ended. That was 4 in a row. We're back on it. This last one, though, is either cappuccino or liver and onions. Here we go. Ooh, that did not have a good aftertaste. That was weird.
Didn't Eric get liver and onions? And he said it tasted like burnt hair. Can you confirm?
Yeah. I know exactly what he's talking about immediately. Oh, that is awful. If we get, what is it, like 35, 40K for a liver and onion smoothie, I might back out of it. I might chicken out.
Let's do the hot one stream.
That is so gross. I don't like onions. I don't like raw onions, to be clear. Ugh. All right. I think we should get onto it.
Yeah. Real quick news though, if I may.
Sure. As long as it's not about your fantasy team.
Broke. No, it's not fantasy at all. No. Just broke that Jim Leland is going to be going in the Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh! Thank God, dude. That was a roller coaster. I thought you were going to say something else.
No,
he's not a young man. So
no, I know. I would not do that this week, especially with the personal stuff I'm dealing with. Let's see here. Yep. Congratulations, former Tigers manager and current special assistant, on his election to the National Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2024.
Good for him.
I love old smokes. Is that an all-time clip, Ryan, where he's like yelling at Barry Bonds?
It's very good. It's a very good clip.
want to remember Jim Leland because it's the last time the Tigers actually made me feel good. All the smoking. All the curmudgeonness.
I was 3
Finger
games.
guns, moonwalking.
Good stuff.
Sorry, I don't have strong feelings about Jim Leland because it's baseball. But good for him.
Yeah.
I like when iconic people are rewarded for doing things.
Before they die.
All right, you're really hooked. Why is that so in the forefront of your head, Jim? Don't even put that out there.
I know. Kind of like I was accused of putting stuff out there when I said that in 2016, Travis Swanson, the starting center for the Detroit Lions, suffered a season-ending concussion.
What?
At New Orleans.
I'm confused. What's happening?
That immediately popped in my head after I saw Frank Ragnow get hurt.
Oh. Why would you do that?
I tried to reverse jinx it.
Did it work? I can't tell.
Got a good update from Dan Campbell.
I suppose you did.
All right. Third segment. What are we going to talk about? The NFL?
Playoff picture. Playoffs.
The playoffs?
I'm going to pull
Need
up.
Jim Mora, Chris, for the third segment.
I'm going to pull up the
I
standings.
don't know if I want to be Jim Mora.
Well, no, you don't have to be Jim Mora. I was going to say, if you got time to sound drop him.
What are you doing? Can I ask what you're doing right now? Are you okay?
I don't know, dude. I've been sitting like all day long.
Okay.
I'm just like, I have so much energy.
All right. All right. You're just weirding me out a little bit. I'm just saying.
I'm on a delay, so I just saw the point in the stream where you like kind of looked at me like, "What are you doing?" but didn't say anything about it.
All right. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Pride to Detroit PODcast. Wrapping up the show here. And as always, we turn our attention to the rest of the NFC because, yes, no matter how much people want to complain about this team, no matter how much we got to drag people kicking and screaming to this, the Lions are 9-3 atop the NFC North. We just watched the Eagles take their second loss as the 49ers improved to 9-3 as well. So we have time to talk about this NFC playoff picture, Jeremy.
Yeah.
A playoff picture that is still not complete, but we're recording this as Packers Chiefs is starting to get going, so we'll ignore them for the time being because I know there is a weird outside chance for the Packers to get in here, but ultimately it doesn't really matter because the Lions have played the Packers both times already, and they are irrelevant to this particular story.
Well, let's start with the NFC North, right? The Lions pick up a win. The Vikings were on a bye. So that 2.5 lead over the Vikings is now a full 3 games. And no matter what happens to the Packers tonight, they're still going to have at least a 3-game lead on the Packers as well. So the Lions extended their NFC North lead this week, which is good news. Maybe it's even more if the Packers lose to the Chiefs, which I think many of us are expecting. A 4-game lead over the Packers with 5 games left would essentially mean the Packers are more or less out of the NFC North race. They're just going to become a wild card team, which like you said, probably means that they're out of the Lions. Yeah, at best. Which probably means that they're out of the Lions vision. But it's notable now that the Lions have a 3-game lead over the Vikings, which theoretically even means if they lose both times to the Vikings, they still theoretically have a 1-game lead. So they are in a very, very good position when it comes to the NFC North. If you want odds on it, some people have them above 95% chance to win the division now. It's in that 90 to 95 range. So that's where we're at in the division. That's very, very good news. Now, if you want to extend your hopes beyond that, and we can also talk about like what happens if they do fall out of the NFC North. But I think now because the Eagles have lost, it kind of has a push-pull effect, right? Like now Now I guess the 1 seed is back in the conversation. I know the Lions aren't playing like a number 1 seed in the NFC right now, but they're a game behind the Eagles. They're tied with the 49ers, but the 49ers currently have a better conference record. They're 7-1 in the conference. The Lions are 6-2. And the Eagles are 6-1 in the conference. So that's like an important tiebreaker. Lions aren't going to face either the Eagles or the 49ers, so the conference tiebreaker is what's important. The problem, though, with the Eagles is that they're just coming up on the tail end of like this gauntlet, right? Next week they have the Cowboys. So that at the Cowboys. So you're rooting for the Cowboys in that game. Although then it becomes a weird thing where the Cowboys might be the division leader after that. So that's a whole nother conversation. Then they got the Seahawks at Seattle. Never an easy place to win. And then we got our guy. We got our guy, boys. Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito!
Giants, Cardinals,
Son
Giants.
of a bitch.
Giants, Cardinals, Giants for the Eagles to finish off the season. So, is it likely the Eagles lose 2 more games and the Lions win out to jump them? Probably not.
Especially with the Cowboys on the schedule for the Lions still.
Yeah.
Cowboys, I should emphasize.
And with as good as the 49ers are playing right now, they seem like a pretty tough team to jump at this point too. Their remaining schedule is Seahawks, Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, and then a Rams team that we'll talk about in a second that is in the conversation. So it's possible that the Lions outplay the 49ers down the stretch. But basically what I'm getting at, based on the schedules, based on how the Lions are playing, based on everything that's moving around them, to me it seems most likely that the Lions are headed for the 3 seed in the NFC. That's my feelings on it. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but it feels like that's where this whole thing is headed right now.
Well, I think it's fascinating. You say they're heading for the 3 seed, and as we look at the wild card pictures here too, the Rams are suddenly entering the picture, and it's no longer given that the Lions are probably going to play the Vikings 3 out of 4 weeks straight. Like, there is a world where the Rams here, who after defeating the Joe Flacco led Cleveland Browns, they've now won 3 straight. And the Rams have some tough games coming up here. They've got to go on the road to play the Ravens, but then they have Commanders, Saints, at Giants, at 49ers. That's how the rest of their schedule pans out. But I also don't think from what we've seen from the Vikings, I don't think they're good enough to win out either. Like, the Vikings remain this continual enigma as far as what kind of a team they are with Josh Dobbs, and who knows if he's even their quarterback moving forward.
Yeah.
Right. They that Bears game put a lot of scrutiny onto Joshua Dobbs being this wonderkin ready to lead the Vikings to the playoff promised land. It is still a very open thing. Meanwhile, the Rams, and again, they have some tough games to play, but they're starting to get healthy at the right time. They got Matthew Stafford back. They got Kyron Williams back, who has been once again a huge game for him against the Cleveland Browns. He has been kind of their phenomenal running back who's been able to really give the complementary run game the Rams always like having. And I think it's opened up that wild card picture quite a bit, that it's no longer a given that you're just going to have to live with the Vikings for all of January.
Yeah, that could be true. I mean, it does suck. I mean, it's one of those instances in which you look back and say, well, a few weeks ago before Joe Burrow, was put on the shelf, that, Vikings schedule looks a lot harder, but it's an ebb and flow thing. I mean, you'd rather the Vikings be playing this Antonio Pierce-led Raiders team than playing a Josh McDaniels-led Raiders team, even coming out of the bye next week. But yeah, I think Jeremy's right. I think the Lions are really on a collision course with the 3 seed at this point. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I did mention like a few weeks back that the 49ers just might be really freaking good.
Yeah.
And they just might run the freaking table. And when you beat the Eagles 42-19
Right.
on the road, that's not only cooking dinner at somebody else's house, but you're also, feeding it to them baby bird style. You're chewing it up and you're dropping it in their mouths. So
a good reminder that really, really good teams go through bad stretches. A 3-game losing streak, so to speak, for the 49ers. Yeah. So the Lions can pull out of this quote-unquote tailspin that they're in, which they're not.
Almost like seasons are long.
Right.
The NFL season is a long What's our favorite phrase, Ryan? Marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, marathon, not a sprint. I heard somebody today on the Lions broadcast say the best ability was dependability, and accountability, and they left out availability, which I feel like that should be like the three. Those are the holy grails.
Yeah.
But anyways, the 49ers, I mean, the wins that they've had,
very impressive.
34-3 over the Jaguars, who are probably your AFC South favorites, right? I mean, punked a Buccaneers team too, 27-14, who might be a wild card team, but then, I mean, absolutely demolished the Seahawks in Seattle on Thanksgiving. And then, like I said, take care of business against Philadelphia. Another divisional game, coming up next week against the Seahawks,
right?
In a really short turnaround there, but a game against the Cardinals and Commanders.
By the way, Seahawks, they got a lot of trouble as far as this too, because they've already lost both of their games to the Rams.
Yeah.
That's going to be really interesting, because I was going to highlight that last week of the season,
right?
Rams 49ers, right? Like that's another
for the Rams.
Yeah.
And that might be a game when the 49ers might not be playing for anything. It's something to keep in the back of your mind. They might have the first seed locked up. The Eagles might have the first seed locked up, and the Lions might have the third seed locked up. But let's talk about that. So if we all kind of agree that the Lions are most likely headed towards, go ahead.
Real quick before we do, I like point differential.
Sure.
I think it's probably like the best at glance of where we all are on certain teams. And I do want to say, after today's games, the Lions now share a point differential with the Philadelphia Eagles. And your two best teams as far as point differential in the NFC are Cowboys at plus 168 and 49ers at plus 163. Now, Cowboys, that's some home cooking right there, considering the teams they've kind of beat up on. But I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the Cowboys, but I do know a lot of the reason a lot of people haven't nationally embraced the Cowboys yet is look of who they've played.
I mean, next week they play the Eagles.
Next week they do play the Eagles, and the Eagles are coming off this loss.
The next month's worth of games, right? I mean, it's Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions.
Wow.
I
guess find out in a hurry who they are.
Stretch. Yeah,
sure. But I guess my point is that we're at least still when still talking about the upper class of the NFC, you see these teams with these point differentials, and you see the Lions are up there with the Eagles. The Vikings are plus 21, and I think the Rams are plus 15, and the Packers are plus 7. And that's really about it that's worth mentioning right now. So there is still a classification where the Lions are still here with this. But yes, I'm sorry, Jeremy. I didn't mean to take it away from that. Continue.
That's okay. So let's look at the bigger picture now. Let's start projecting into the future, because I do think that the NFC picture is coming in to close here a little bit. So the Lions are headed to a 3 seed. Let's just assume that is correct. That means you have an NFC East team above them. That means the other NFC East team is going to be the 5 seed, because I don't foresee any of the middle of the pack teams catching either the Eagles or the Cowboys. You have the 49ers at that 2 seed.
The Cowboys are playing the NFC South winner.
Right. Yes. 4 versus 5. The NFC South winner, whoever it is, whether it's the Falcons, who seem to have a big lead on it. Falcons versus Cowboys or Eagles seems like that's almost certainly going to happen. But suddenly the 2 versus 7 and the 3 versus 6, that picture is muddled, because there are a lot of middle of the road teams right now. You have the Vikings at 6-6. You have the Packers either at 6-6 or 5-7. You have the Rams at 6-6. You have the Seahawks at 6-6. You have the Buccaneers and Saints both at 5-7. Those teams are all in the mix, and none of them look particular. I mean, the most inspiring team out of the bunch might be the Rams. And so then, that if they go on that run, but again, they have a little bit of a tough schedule. They are in that big favorable position of having that tiebreaker over the Seahawks, the back-to-back wins. But I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know which team is going to come out of that. I don't know which team I want to come out of that. We mentioned the Packers, they have an easy schedule. They could very well work their way into a 10-7 record, and that might be enough to be a 6 or 7 seed. The Rams could also be that good down the stretch. I don't know. Do you guys have a sense of? Let's start with who is a team amongst that 6-6 and 5-7 group that you feel is a legit contender to not only make a wild card spot, but be a thorn in the Lions' side as that 6 seed versus a 3 seed?
Chris, I feel like there's two answers to that question. One, the most obvious one is Seattle, just because.
But they're not playing enough.
Well. No, they're not. They're not.
I also think Seattle's road, just because they've lost both of their games to the Rams, to making this wild card is really hard.
Yeah, no, extremely hard for sure. But I'm just saying, of any of the teams that are in the mix, right?
Yeah.
I think Seattle is one that a lot of Lions fans, with reason, would be very wary of, just because over the past 3 years it hasn't been exactly great.
Sure, although
against
you
Seattle.
want to talk about downward trends, they've been on a pretty rough downward trend too, and I don't think we're going to get a repeat of the overtime game.
Lost 4 of the last 5.
The obvious answer, and for a team that could maybe do a little damage in the playoffs beyond the first round, would be the Los Angeles Rams.
Right. I don't know what to do with the Rams, because I almost feel like on some ways their quarterback situation is a bit of a mirror of the Lions. Like, I know we have to kind of leave Jeremy out of this conversation a little bit here, Ryan, but I do feel that, the question is, if the Lions played the Rams, you'd have to get pressure on Matt Stafford. And because that's the key to beating Matt Stafford, is putting him under pressure. And then it becomes a question of, is this pass rush going to be good enough at that time, consistent enough to get that pressure on Matt Stafford? Because, oh boy, the weapons they have to beat you.
Yeah.
They have the weapons to beat you.
They do.
Is it crazy for me to say, and I know I haven't looked at their schedules yet, so I think they beat up on each other, but we're not going to see another. I don't think we'll see any of these 5 and 7s from the NFC South where they're headed up.
No.
I think we can discard that.
No.
So I guess
the only team that stands a shot is currently the number 12 seed in the NFC.
Stop it.
Giants?
No.
Stop
Giants.
DeVito, baby.
The Bucks and the Saints are both 5 and 7, but they're both.
They'll play each other, and they'll play the Falcons, and they'll beat each other up. The point is, like, one of those teams will take that division. But, like, no, I think to Ryan's thing, like, you're looking at Vikings, Rams, and Seahawks, and just trying to figure out which one of those climbs to the top of this pile at this point.
Right. I'd throw the Packers in there too. Obviously, again, we're before Sunday Night Football, so we don't know what happens. But even if they drop to 5 and 7, I think they're in their conversation.
Yes, and the thing is the Lions are, as already stated, they're on a collision course with the 3 seed. Like, I don't think it's the 1 seed. I don't think it's the 2 seed. I think the Lions are going to be the 3 seed. If the Lions are going to be the 3 seed, the one team that's trending in the direction that's going to put them away from, well, I should say the team that's going to get to that 6 seed is going to be the Rams. Like, the Rams are going to get to that spot. Like that is the spot for them to assume. And I think that we all need to, right now on December 3rd, and you're listening to this on December 4th for those of you in podcast land, but you need to come to terms with the fact that the Lions would be hosting a home playoff game after winning the NFC North against the greatest quarterback in their franchise's history.
My counterpoint, and again, depends on what happens tonight, but I still think the Packers are maybe one of the teams that's trending in the best directions out of all these teams. And they have an extremely easy schedule outside of tonight's game against the Chiefs. Yeah. Giants, Bucks, Panthers, Vikings, Bears. And they have the tiebreaker over the Rams. Head-to-head, beat them 20-3.
Oh, yeah, they beat Brett Rippon, all right.
That's right.
Man.
So, if they both finish with the same record, it would be the Packers that were the 5 seed. I'm sorry, the 6 seed over the Rams. And so it would
Love that.
So if I had to put a guess right now, like if I had to power rank the most likely 6 seeds, I'd go Packers, Rams, Vikings. And then who's the last team that I'm not even considering right now? Seahawks. The Seahawks, I don't know, man. Seahawks seem like they're in trouble.
Yeah, dude. I know
they're in real trouble. They're in real trouble.
This is bringing the live stream into the podcast, but JT Sam, where's the committee when you need them? Where's that college football playoff committee when you need them?
Just have you seen the Seahawks next few games?
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
At 49ers, Eagles.
Yeah. They're in trouble.
And that Eagles is Monday night.
Yep.
At Titans.
Well, and that's the thing.
Steelers at Cardinals.
You want to take a look at those, like the Eagles and the 49ers schedule immediately and say, like, those teams are, I mean, they're vying for it right now, right? Like they're trying to get that extra week off between the two of them. So anybody between them and potentially, set aside the final game of the season in week 18 for both those teams, like all those teams, like they're in trouble because they're going to get everything that the 49ers and the Eagles can throw at them.
Yep.
I mean, and that's that. The Lions are going to get everything that is going to get thrown at them from the Vikings and the Cowboys because Cowboys probably want the division too.
Yeah.
At this point, especially with the loss tonight, they smell the East.
Yeah. If there's one downside to the Eagles losing today, it's that the Cowboys now feel like it's a race. Of course, if the Cowboys lose next week to the Eagles, they've now lost both games to the Eagles. They'll be a game down. So it'll really be 2 games down with 4 to go. They're going to have a real tough climb to win the NFC East. But they're still going to be, I mean,
any game.
But they will be staring down a situation where they're going to be pretty close. They could be very much locked into the 5 seed. Because if they can't catch the Eagles, no one else is going to catch them from behind. They are going to be the highest rated wildcard seed. And I think that's just if we get there, though. I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but this whole thing.
Chris, the main character in the NFC NFC
Tommy
playoff picture
DeVito.
is Tommy DeVito.
Explain to the people why.
My son.
Explain to the people why. What's the Giants' schedule remaining?
Oh my gosh, the Giants' remaining schedule is. I mean, they do play the Packers
next week,
but yeah, they play the Packers next week on Monday Night Football. They play the Saints, which 5-7, so whatever. But they play the Eagles, the Rams, and then the Eagles again to finish out the season. So like, a lot of playoff implications.
Yeah, every
all you're saying,
one of those
saying is
everyone
out there has to wave their tricolor.
The playoffs go through Tommy DeVito. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, just as I always envisioned it. Happy Tommy DeVito Day.
I think we are off the rails officially at this point.
I think we're off the rails, and I think we've hit the post as far as the time. So I think we get out of here. Want to thank Jeremy Reisman. Want to thank Ryan Matthews. Want to thank you at home who have been listening, who have been supporting us throughout Movember. As a reminder, Tuesday, live stream, marathon. We're going to have plenty of guests, fun times, a lot of money still to be raised for the Alzheimer's Association. Thanks again to Jeremy for covering me while I was dead, pretty much, and unable to walk whatsoever, and still trying to not hack up a big one into the microphone in front of me. But we're going to get out of here. Make sure to tune in Tuesday for the marathon stream. We got more content coming. Lions going to Chicago for the next game. We'll see you then for PODcast and all the stuff in between. Check your feeds. Pride to Detroit on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts. We will see you Starside.
Recording stopped.
Okay. Chat, we're gonna stay alive here for a second, and it looks like we maybe got a raid from Bridget. I see a bunch of daddy goffs in the chat. I did not get the alert for the raid, but I'm pretty sure we did. So thank you, Bridget, for the raid. I hope you guys were having fun over there, watching all the games and all that jazz. Thank you for all the follows. I have a good reason for you to stick around. We're not going to be live for too much longer, but if you notice at the very top of the screen, we are raising money for the Alzheimer's Association all of November and into December 5th. And we just hit a huge milestone during this stream at $20,000. And so what that means, we've already done it. We did a spin on what we call the Wheel of Pain. We are about to do a spin on the Wheel of Extreme Pain, which we only do every time we cross over to a $10,000 mark. If you do want to help out, RGA just threw an exclamation point donate in the chat. You can still donate. Every $20 you donate, you get entered into a raffle with a ton of prizes. You can also make us do very silly stuff. You can hit exclamation point Movember if you want more information on that. But because we are getting close to kickoff time for Sunday Night Football, I don't want to waste too much time. I want to get right into the wheel of extreme pain. Are we down with that? Great.
I'm so down with it.
Let me pull up the spinny wheel. I have to adjust it to make it the wheel of extreme pain. I have not seen a locker room celebration video for those of you that are asking. Nope. Doesn't look like it's up yet. All right.
I've got bad news.
What's that?
Apparently, everyone on the Sunday Night Football panel picked Chiefs tonight.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
All right. The spots on the wheel of extreme pain are what is called a sour pickleball. And if we land on that, I'll tell you more about it.
Would you like to know more?
A full cereal bowl of Bean Boozled, which will have to be saved for Tuesday. More fart spray in the face, which, please no. Smelling salts, which I'll have to do. Unless you have them too, Ryan. And you know what? I just realized I can't do ice in the pants because I don't have any ice currently in my freezer.
I could do that.
You could do that? All right. Sure. Ice in the pants for Chris. That's going to be our wheel of pain.
I've got some like whiskey glass sized ice too that'll sit down there for a good long while.
All right. So there you go. Smelling salts, ice in the pants, sour pickleball, Bean Boozled cereal, or fart spray. Not 50 up downs. I will die. I don't no problem here for all of it. Thanks for supporting us. All right, here we go. I will be okay with anything but fart spray. I'm not going to be happy, but anything but fart spray. Anything but fart spray. Anything but fart spray. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's the Bean Boozled cereal.
Oh, God.
Tuesday. Can't wait.
There you go. It's a bit of an anticlimactic end to the stream because we aren't going to do it there, but Ryan Matthews will join us.
More reason to show up on Tuesday.
Oh, you know what? Chat's pretty happy about it. They're pretty excited about it. Also pretty excited about, you know what? The locker room celebration video literally just dropped. So we're going to watch that. Then we're going to get out of here. Then you all are going to watch Sunday Night Football. We're all going to watch the Chiefs win. We're all going to be Swifties for 3 hours.
And go light up a pack of Marlboros in honor of Old Smokes getting into the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Jim Leland, baby.
Hold on, let me share the screen with you guys. Boop. Boop. And then you guys need sound. Done. All right, here we go. Here we go.
We just went to work and we competed, and you guys went after it. And guess what? We went out and we won.
No sound.
Came out electric, and we had to hang on. We had to get back. Defense,
Nope,
two
not
takeaways. It's huge. It's huge. That's a credit to everybody in this room. I'm so proud of all of you guys. Was it perfect? No, but god dang, man, that's not easy to come in this place and win. That's outstanding, man. Outstanding. I got one game ball. Give me the game ball. Sam Laporta.
You're golden receiver.
Rookies get a speech. Let's go.
Hey, first one of
He's
December,
so
you just
cute.
wanted a fucking springboard going forward, boys. Great win. Family on 3, 1, 2, 3. Family. We just went to work.
All right. Not quite.
Nice and clean and quick. They
Not-
knew we needed to get out of here.
Not quite Dan Campbell going Godzilla on us, but
No, he knows that this one was rough. So
it was fine. Everyone relax. It was fine. All right. I've heard the people say that our good old pal Mrs. Ruby is live. Y'all, she hasn't been streaming as much lately because her life's super busy, so we're going to use the opportunity to go raid her. She is I was going to say she's a food and drink streamer, but she doesn't really do that anymore. She's just kind of a variety streamer and also a really good person. And in December, we're actually going to do a charity stream for her awesome charity. So if you have any questions about her charity, go over there and ask. It's called the Good Egg Fund, and I'm sure she would be more than happy to talk about it. The Good Egg Fund. Until then, guys, we are going to be out of here. We are going to spend the next 48 hours preparing for a big Tuesday night stream where we're going to raise a whole bunch of money for the Alzheimer's Association. We're going to have a bunch of awesome guests. We're going to have a lot of freaking fun. So make sure you spend the next 48 hours getting some rest. I want to see you all there from 8 a.m. all the way until midnight. No break for you because I'm going to be here the whole freaking time. And until then, like, enjoy 9-3. It's a lot of fun. Team's in a really good spot. We'll see you guys later.
Go play
Bye.
Africa.
Bye. Was that